From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. Drought tightens its grip even more across the Midwest.
You've got Illinois this week at 36% good to excellent. I mean, obviously that's a massive drop.
So just how bad is it? We hit the fields to find out. As crop conditions take a historic drop, USDA NASS provides perspective with an exclusive deep dive into the latest report.
But generally speaking, we don't see that much nationally in just a week's time.
Plus, weather extremes take a toll on the Texas cotton crop and in John's world.
Norway is back in the news.
Now for the news. The drought situation is growing worse in areas of the Corn Belt, with 64% of the U.S. corn crop now covered in drought. The latest crop progress report says just 55% of the corn crop in the U.S. is rated good to excellent. And across the nation, while nearly 70% of the U.S. corn crop is seeing drought, it's also impacting 57% of the U.S. soybean crop. And USDA says 54% of that crop is rated good to excellent. USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says prospects for crop-saving rains in the Corn Belt do not look promising right now, and that's due to what's being called an omega block.
The good news is that the block that's been persistent over the Midwest for a while now, really back all the way into May, has temporarily shifted just enough that it's going to let a cold front and a storm system work its way through the Midwest starting over the weekend into next week. And so there is a little bit of promise for some rainfall. We've already seen some showers and thunderstorms working their way into the Dakotas, into northern Minnesota. And that trend will continue through the weekend and into next week.
Meanwhile, the hot and dry weather is pushing winter wheat harvest forward in Missouri. Nationally, 15% of the crop is cut. It's normally about 20% complete. Oklahoma is running 14 points behind, while nearly half of the Missouri crop is now harvested. The EPA announcing this week the biofuel blending volumes for the next 3 years. And while there's an increase in the amount of biofuels oil refiners will have to blend, the volumes include just 15 billion gallons each year of corn-based ethanol. EPA set the final corn-based ethanol mandate at the initial draft level for 2023, but below the proposal for 2024 and 2025, and the levels for the ethanol industry had asked for. However, the renewable volume obligations still exceed previous blending mandates. Now, for biomass-based diesel, EPA increased RFS volumes in the final rule by only 590 million gallons over the 3-year period, when production is already up nearly 400 million gallons in the first 5 months of 2023 versus last year. Ethanol and biodiesel industry advocates not excited about the news.
When you consider the fact that the Department of Energy's own Energy Information Administration, kind of an independent data collection agency, is projecting increased volumes of 650 million gallons this year, more than 800 million gallons next year. EPA's proposal of raising our volumes by 60 million this year and 200 and some million next year is just a small percentage of what we see coming online.
He says it remains to be seen how negative the RFS will be for the industry in terms of investment in feedstock capacity and the build out of additional biomass-based diesel facilities. Also on the policy front, California is officially delaying the implementation of its Proposition 12 law. It will go into effect now on December 31st this year instead of July 1st. A Sacramento County judge's order blocking enforcement of the rule has been scheduled to expire on July 1st. But the California Department of Food and Agriculture agreed that any products spoken for and in production prior to that date would be grandfathered in. Although the deadline was pushed ahead to the end of the year, the judge noted there would be no more extensions. The National Pork Producers Council calling the delay welcome news, but says the temporary solution does not solve the challenges and uncertainty the law brings to the industry. Prop 12 requires more space for breeding pigs. Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week, and while the two seemed to strike an agreement, the complicated relationship between the U.S. and China continued after the trip. Blinken says they've agreed to stabilize deteriorating U.S.-China ties. But after meeting Xi on Monday, Blinken and China is not ready to resume military-to-military contacts, which is something the U.S. considers crucial. Yet both sides said they were satisfied with progress made during 2 days of talks.
I came to Beijing to strengthen high-level channels of communication, to make clear our positions and intentions in areas of disagreement, and to explore areas where we might work together when our interests align on shared transnational challenges. And we did all of that.
But after the meeting between Blinken and Xi, tensions erupted once again. At a fundraiser just earlier in the week, President Biden compared Xi to a dictator. China's foreign ministry firing back with angry words condemning the U.S. Mexico's president says he will sign an agreement with tortilla makers in the country to use only non-GMO corn. Additionally, the Mexican government says it plans to implement new import tariffs on white corn. Mexico's president saying the tariffs will promote more domestic buys, and he emphasized the importance of preserving the nation's traditional food practices. The decision raising concerns again from the U.S. and Canada, both countries recently asking for consultations regarding Mexico's decree, which aims to ban GMO corn imports for food use by 2024. That's it for the news. Well, Texans forced to conserve energy this week due to that extreme heat, but it's also blocking moisture from the Midwest. We'll have a check of your forecast coming up next.
Registration is open for the 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour, August 21st through the 24th. Attend one of our nightly meetings or join online as we gain insight on the 2023 growing season. Visit profarmercroptour.com/register to select the stop nearest you.